Hello and welcome back to Games Over Explained. Today we're going to be continuing our playthrough of Going Medieval. We're back in our settlement of Wythenshawe and have some fun stuff planned. Last episode we left off with kind of finishing up the main building here, getting it to a place where we were happy and comfortable with it. So we are going to be doing some other stuff. The big thing that I did not get to last episode is going to be the quarry. If you have not seen the previous episodes, I am going to be leaving a link in the description, so feel free to take a look at that. So here we are at our settlement of Wythenshawe. This is the large building that we completed last week. As you can see, everyone's getting some sweet shut-eye in. So we are going to discuss a little bit about what we're going to do. Like I said, I wanted to start with a quarry. So I kind of did some scoping out offline, and it looks like these guys are going to be decent resources for limestone. Since we are in a hillside environment, we are going to have a harder time finding limestone. So I wanted to start there. We'll start quarrying out. If we get lucky, there will be more limestone underneath it. As far as I'm aware, there's no way to tell that preemptively. For instance, if you come in here and you come down, drop your layers, you just get the voxel, overlay here of all these little squares. So nothing we can do about that except for dig and get to it. I do think it would be easiest to just build a little crossing here instead of making them go all the way around, and probably gonna knock this guy down here, which should give us a tremendous amount of clay to play with. So we are gonna get started on that right away. We're just gonna come down to the building menu as always and grab a type of wall, and it actually looks like wooden would be the best option for now, and so we're gonna do that. Just want to drag this here, and one of these guys will get around to it at some point. They're cooking and hanging out. Let's see what time it is. 6. Yeah, so they're scheduled to do anything. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to do some leisure in a minute, so we're gonna go ahead and fast forward this a bit. Let's just take it down to 2 for now. I like to try and keep the pace up on these guys. So once we have the limestone, we do need to start building some paths in our settlement. And we are also going to have to monitor these wolves because they are rather close to where we want to build the quarry. And of course, he's going to come all the way down here to build. Well, unfortunately, they're trying to build the other side first. Either way, we'll let them get that going there. Once we have some more limestone, like I was saying, we can start building our paths out, and there's some other stuff that I would like to get going as well. However, we're going to leave that to be a surprise till either later in the video or maybe another episode. It really depends on where this ends up in terms of timing. So I did want to check on our research and see kind of where we're at and maybe do some planning, see where we want to be in the next little bit. I do think we already did our brewing, which is good. I do think since we are coming up on fall, we probably should invest in tailoring. Let's see, our other options, of course, are clay brick making, stone block cutting, and wooden weaponry. We also have the decorative stuff, which is important, but not as important as some of the other items that we still have on our agenda to do. So I'm thinking we should go ahead and actually do the preserving food so we can get the smokehouse, but most importantly get the shelves. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll plan for our next venture to be smelting. Yeah, smelting, because now that we have the ability to trade with merchants and we have access to some ore, I think it's probably not a bad idea to build a little bit of an economy on that. So we are going to order 30 of the books and move on. Let's see how our path is going here. Fantastically. Okay. So this is going to be a little tricky. I do want to make sure that we're not ending up harming our settlers by putting them in the way of the wolves here. So let's do a 4x4 in the center, and I do want to see what happens here if we get too close. I'm gonna keep Sinmund handy because he is our archer. Of course, he's going to garden, so he may not be as useful as we want him to be, but that's okay. So it looks like, yeah, so he's hauling to stockpile. So let me buzz through this a little bit and kind of do a time lapse while I'm waiting on them to get some stuff done, and we'll get back to the commentary section momentarily. So I am going to attempt to attack one of these wolves, and we're gonna hope that they don't get after Sinmund too bad. I'm really nervous with having them this close, but they aren't acting aggressively. Let's just see. Yeah, okay. All right, so now that we fired at them, they should run off. I'm not terribly interested in killing them right now. My main concern was just getting them away from our quarry, or where our quarry is going to be. So for the time being, I think we're going to be okay with leaving them alone and letting them continue to live their lives. So looks like it's winding down for the evening in the settlement. So we'll probably have to do another buzz through. We're probably, for the project I have in mind, I will admit, the project that I have in mind is going to take a lot of limestone. I did a test build just to make sure that it actually worked, and it's going to be quite limestone heavy. So I'm hoping that we get extremely lucky and there's more limestone underneath this area, but there's really only one way to find out, and that's to dig. So I'm going to fast forward through the evening and we'll get back to it. So it is a new day, and we're starting off with Albert having an attitude. Let's see, desperately thirsty. Yes, I know we don't have any way to brew yet, and that's actually something we should go ahead and get taken care of here. So first thing that we should do is we do need to get another house going, or another private quarter, I guess we'll call it, since we did expand our settlement a little bit. Let's see, that is 5? Yeah, 5, okay. So let's go ahead and get that done real quick, and it gives them something to do. Drop the wooden floor in. I'm gonna need to get a door, slap the door in, and roof. Okay, so now that they have all that going for them, actually, hang on, let me make sure that I get this bed in as well. And that way nobody has to worry about sleeping anymore, and we'll convert this into a brewing center because we do need to start getting a source of alcohol going. They will continue to complain about not having anything to drink. So that's not the greatest, but it is what it is. So we'll have to kind of rush to try and get that done. The way brewing works is pretty interesting. You can take the berries and some other various crops, not cabbage, unfortunately. So we may have to expand our farming venture a little bit to accommodate this new production facility, but that's okay as well. So let's see, we have some new items. There's our shelf. We have the cartography table as well that we probably want to build in the very near future. So we might go ahead and drop another building in. I don't actually know how big this thing is. Whoa. So it is 4x2. So how does this thing work? Well, we'll find out. Let's take a look inside our facility here. So we decided this is kind of a common area, and then this is the storeroom. We have nothing on this second floor right now, so maybe this would be a good place to go ahead and drop in that cartography table. And that should just serve the purpose of unlocking our region map. So let's tuck this. I want to center this, but I'm generally awful at centering. I think that's it. That looks right. Let's drop it. Structure can't be placed there. Well, you let me place it there. So resources needed. Let's see what happens there. I don't know why it said can't be placed there. No matter. Let's see. Nobody has started on the mining, so I'm probably gonna have to prioritize that a bit. We are building here, and our wood resource is doing okay while these guys are growing back. Probably worth going ahead and taking out Let's see, you're mature, and this is mature. So we can go ahead and take these guys out here just to give us a little extra wood. And they're a little close to settlement and in our farming area, which I imagine we will want to expand out a bit. Obviously, we have the limestone here to contend with, and then the limestone and clay and rocky soil here. So realistically, I think the farm will kind of grow up and out, and then we'll end up, if we ever come across this, well, we will probably come across it at some point, we'll just need to move our tree farm elsewhere. But for now, it's in a good place, so we don't really need to be too terribly concerned about that. I assume they have enough materials for all this because I don't see any complaints. And we still have lots of hay, which is what we're using a lot of right now for these builds. Yeah. So they're running off to, where are you going? Oh, finally, we're gonna start actually digging. Excellent. That's very good news. Job satisfaction, very cool. All right, we'll leave them to it. I wish somebody would build this bed, but if we remember, it was a skill issue last time, and I've already forgotten who had the correct skill level to construct that. So let's take a gander real quick. It was level 10 or higher? Yeah, so Noda is the one that's gonna have to actually build that. And Noda's very busy hauling stuff to the stockpile. Let's see, what do you have on you? Nothing right now. Oh. Well, let's see. Let's actually grab Noda and tell her to prioritize building this bed, because I do think it's a very important and worthy task. And there is our first chunk of limestone, and underneath it is iron. Ooh. All right. Well, that's pretty valuable too. We will likely end up cutting down this, but I do want to get at least some limestone production going first before we clear this area and then start kind of prepping it to be a proper quarry. I was kind of thinking that this area here would suffice. Of course, I just moved there. This area here would not be the worst size for a quarry, but that's all dependent on whether or not we actually have usable material underneath. I don't mind there being iron underneath, but I do think that having some more limestone would be a little more ideal for now. But you know, we'll get it sorted. So Noda's building this bed. I think you're gonna be just in time for bedtime, which is good. Yep, bedroom created. And then immediately went to sleep on it. Very nice, very nice. And then we haven't started on the cartography table yet, but that's okay, because that's gonna take some time. And I think it was a considerable amount of wood. Yeah, 90 wood. So we'll let this buzz through again. All right, so we're back to the morning. We have some research available, but yep, it's just the decorative stuff. I really did want to get on the smelting, especially with our recent discovery of iron being buried right over here. It's going to be pretty helpful. So we're going to keep on keeping on and focus on that for a bit. Of course, we're back in leisure hours. So let's take a gander about the area here. There is another limestone source over here, which I'm trying to note where all of them are. That way, when the future, we'll be able to actually find these pretty quickly. We do have some exposed surface iron here, which is also useful. A ton of just regular soil here. And that's actually just beyond our farm. So maybe that's the area we clear for our farm at some point. Once we start developing that a little more and growing, we are going to need quite a bit of space in order to grow. And this is the area I had originally kind of was thinking about putting the quarry here, but I think some of the height differences are just going to cause some logistical problems. So I don't know that it's terribly worth it. So it looks like our limestone on the surface is pretty few and far between. So we are going to have to hope that we end up finding more underneath the surface as we continue to dig out some of these areas. I am going to probably set up our priorities to have a little bit higher on mining, because nobody currently has mining as their most important task. Yeah, see, research is number one. And actually, let's see how far along we are here. So we needed 30, we have 23 currently. Let's see, who else could potentially be drafted into mining? Ad Albert doesn't currently have a ton to do. I do want Ad Albert to be prioritizing in growth and harvest, but I think mining is also probably a good option. Settlers are becoming annoyed. What are you annoyed about? Still thirsty and deprived of religious activities. Oh, cool, merchant time. All right. So while the merchants are heading into town, let's pop back over here. I do have a plan for the religious aspect. I know that they are getting irritated with the fact that they can't practice their religion, and I understand. However, I do have a plan there. It's going to be part of this limestone plan, so I'm gonna keep pushing it off until it becomes a major issue. And I don't think it is, simply because we have food, so they can eat the food, and that will resolve that issue. We don't have any alcoholic beverages, but I am going to try and procure some from these merchants. So let's see who's available. Let's go talk to this merchant, and let's see what kind of options we have. Let's see. Limestone brick, leather, come on. Rough wine, perfect. Oh, you can buy resources, or I guess the production tables and items from them. That's actually really cool. Well, these merchants have a lot more than the previous merchant did. So let's see, 28 rough wine. Let's talk about procuring all of that, because we are a bit of a ways away from being able to produce our own. And I think it's going to be important to continue giving them the alcohol that they desire. So let's see, what do we have to trade? We still have a ton of sticks. So in the jump menu here, we decided last week that we can hold shift and trade. Ooh, this is gonna be an expensive venture. Is there anything else we have that we could trade? Honestly, we could probably trade some cabbage, simply because the cabbage is, it's gonna grow back quickly, and honestly, it's gonna rot before we have the opportunity to fully consume it all. What else do we have here that I could trade? So, let's see. Balance in your settlement's favor, right, and you are asking for more than you are offering. If the balance is in the merchant's favor left, then you are giving more than you are asking for. Only transactions under the bargain threshold are possible. The bargain threshold is influenced by the bartering settler's speechcraft skill. Okay, so I need to be more mindful of who we send to barter with these guys, because I'm not actually 100% sure on how any of my speechcraft looks right now. But we'll worry about that in the future. I think this is worthy of just kind of pushing it. I think that's the threshold here, is that little, if you can see, diversion between the center line and that line. So let's throw in a few hundred more sticks and see where that gets us. That's only by 10, whoops. So let's take it up to 1,500 sticks, and then let's do another 50 cabbage. And I just don't think that's gonna be enough to push us over. So let's see, what else am I willing to give up? This is only worth 0.05, so it's not gonna be nearly as useful as we want it to be. I do have some coal, which is worth a fair amount. So if I trade, let's do 10 coal. Does that bring us closer? It's unacceptable still. All right, let's try and throw some clay in there. I don't think it's gonna be worth enough. I think we're gonna have to do let's do 20 more cabbage and keep our coal. Is that good enough? Yes, okay. We are getting ripped off here, but I desperately need that rough wine, so we're going to roll with it and just live with it. Unfortunately, when you're getting started and you have to trade for your some of the resources that you're not producing yourself, this is what happens. So consider it motivation for us to get the brewing station set up and finalized. because that's, I think, going to be an important thing moving forward. So I am going to disassemble this hay bed. I had said that we're going to reuse this area for the brewing station. I still think that's accurate. So let's go ahead and drop this brewing station in. Let's tuck it in this corner. That gives us a little bit of room for another one when the time comes, of course. I don't think it's super necessary right now. We need to cut down that shrub that's growing right in front of the door, because I think that's going to affect our transversal walking? What do they call it in this game? I don't remember. Yeah, traversal. I said transversal, which is close. So at least give me some credit for that. So we've got more cabbage coming in, so I'm really feeling pretty good about my cabbage selling decision. A lot better than our sticks selling, which frankly, sticks are way more renewable and take less time. I say way more renewable. Trees take a while to grow, but it is a more abundant resource right now. So I think it's probably okay. So it looks like we're actually ready to start putting some limestone down. And really what I want to do is build some connectivity here, just because it's going to increase their traversal speed. See, I got it this time. So I think that's probably a worthy investment. I do think that we probably need to count this out a little bit. So I am going to kind of fast forward through that so you guys don't have to hear me trying to do math. Okay. I went ahead and dropped the paths in to get us started. I would like to connect up our bridge over here at some point. I just don't see us having enough resources to do that at this time. So I do think it's worth just getting this taken care of. I do think we're gonna have to deconstruct our campfire for now, which kind of stinks, but we're just gonna relocate it. I can build in a little area. And these guys should follow these paths now that we have them down. Once they're built, I should say, because they're not currently built. It's gonna take a little bit of time for them to get rolling on that, especially considering that they just slept. So I guess the merchants don't need to sleep. They all just kind of stood wandering around. I don't know if you saw earlier, they just like walked inside. Yeah, see, oh no, he's in between buildings. But earlier they went in one of my buildings, just I guess assuming that that was okay, which it is. I don't really have much to say about it. Just wanted to point it out that they're really just invading our privacy here. But it is what it is, I suppose. We don't have any walls, so it's what more can you ask for, right? So I wish they would collect this limestone over here. It's not that much. And I do think it's going to be important to build this path out in the future. But yeah, see, Noda heard me. Thank you, Noda. So yeah, I think building this path in the future to come over here and then getting rid of this guy to go around is going to be nice. There's our campfire gone. So I am going to drop in another one. And I think I'd like to put it here for now. And maybe we'll do a second one. Let's see. I kind of think that would look good with the... I say that, but I actually did not like that. Hang on one second. Let's actually bump this up. And I actually want to put it like right on the main path, but separate. That way it feels logical. I mean, these are only temporary anyway, because in the future we'll have better access to different types of cooking resources, like full-on kitchens and like a hearth, I think is one of them down the line. So I think that'll probably be nice and clean this up a bit. But for now, we're just trying to make it look okay. Like I said last week, we're going for function over form, not form over function. If we were doing form over function, this would look nice and a little more organized. But I think the paths are really gonna bring it together and make this area look really a lot nicer than it did at the beginning of this episode. So they're working on that. I am going to, after we get these paths in, focus on the quarry, because we are going to need a lot more limestone than we currently have to fulfill the vision that I am having. So we're gonna bump this up to 3 and let them kind of get through a lot of this. And hopefully it doesn't take them too terribly long. But I am gonna fast forward through it a bit just so we don't sit here and ramble for no reason. So I will be right back with you. And welcome to autumn. I do want to point out that somehow we made it through summer without a single heat wave or a thunderstorm, which is interesting. There is a chance of thunderstorms in the autumn as well. So I say that now, but I have a feeling that we'll probably end up with thunderstorms, at least now that I've actually said something and called it out. Hopefully they're not too bad. The thunderstorms are pretty mild in this game, minus the fact that lightning can strike your structures and do damage to them, which is not the most fortunate thing to happen to you, but you know, it's all part of trying to survive, I suppose. So let's see what else we've uncovered in this hole. We still are finding more iron, which I'm very intrigued by. The fact that we're just digging up iron. Kind of exciting. We'll turn it into something. If we need to buy limestone, and I'll have to check, you guys are gonna see this and be like, oh, you could have bought limestone probably with the merchant. It may not be a bad idea. If we don't have an abundant source of something, but have something else that's more valuable, you know, we could play Let's Make a Deal and try to negotiate a little bit and see what opportunities arise from the trading aspect of the game. We're still working on these paths, and it is going to take a while. It's the only downside of early game is when you try to be a little ambitious, you end up getting into situations where you're waiting a lot. So once we get through some of these earlier stages, it's going to be more exciting once we have a little more to actually work with. They are going through that rough wine. I hope that we get another merchant in the near future. It is going to be problematic if we're not able to... let me finish my thought, not able to just start brewing, and we'll check on our brewing station in a moment. So it does look like we have another event here. Salvation the Ravagers. It said, you'd never seen anyone run as fast as Coinel in your life. I say Coinel, I think that's it. That's what I'm gonna call them anyway. They want to eat me, she cried out. Wide-eyed Wythenshawe settlers checked their children and in livestock were gathered in. It's Ravagers, they whispered. Would you help Coinel escape? The pursuers may be hungry for revenge. This is going to be a long-going bit where I don't know how to pronounce any of these names, I can already tell. So let's take a look at the abilities. High botany and moderately high mining. Age 45, soothsaying Reeve. Let's see, 1 archer and 4 marauders. I think we could probably take them. I think it's time we try our hand at the combat. So let's go ahead and accept them. And the search party will arrive in 19 hours. In the meantime, we do need to slap up another shack. So let's do 2x2 there. And just keep our same build that we've been doing. Again, just very basic housing. We're not trying to do anything super special because eventually they'll have something a little nicer. So we'll do that, and actually let's leave the door open for now so I can forget about that and actually go back later and be like, oh, I forgot the door. So my only main concern right now is that we don't have a ton in the way of weapons. In fact, I believe 2 of them are, unarmed if you look up here in this top left corner, which is a little distressing, but we'll work through it. That's why we built this guy here. We are going to have to be mindful of what we're doing there. Ooh, we can unlock wooden weaponry. I don't think we're gonna have enough time. They have 2 archers. Oh man, I don't think we're gonna have enough time to deal with that. So let's actually slow it down just a bit because I'm thinking, actually let's wait and see where they spawn in, because we're not really at a point yet where it's advantageous for us to put the traps down, simply because I don't know what their pathing is going to look like, and that'll make more sense once we actually get to the part where they're trying to raid us. So I think we're gonna have to chance it. As much as I hate to say that, I think that's going to be the case. We're kind of rolling the dice anyway. Hopefully this works out. We're gonna do our best anyway to make it work out. So let's go ahead and drop this bed in before I forget. I'm okay with forgetting the door. I'm not okay with forgetting the bed again. I think, yeah, they're sleeping in the cellar, which is, whoa, very full right now. Holy smokes. Probably about time to expand this a bit. So we will have to get on that. We're actually gonna drop a wooden beam in there. Let's do that now. I don't actually want them working on it yet, but we're gonna drop it in now so that we can expand that cellar out a little more. So let's see, we have 4 hours until they arrive. We might just go ahead and, let's see, more iron. Wow, we are gonna be flush with iron, guys, which is exciting once we get to the part where we can actually make iron weapons, which is a little ways down the line here. But, you know, we'll work with what we got. I'm thinking we're gonna go ahead and do the smelting in preparation for iron, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put in an order for this wooden weaponry. Again, I don't think we have enough time for it to actually be of value, certainly not now. We didn't before, we really don't now. Oh, okay. Let's see, violent extortionists. They came with butcher's knives, wearing bloody aprons. Fee fi fo fum, I smell the blood of Englishmen, shouted the largest, laughing uproariously. Some had set up campfires with spits in large pots. Send Coinel out, then we're ready for our dinner. Oh good, they're cannibals. That's fun. No, we're not gonna surrender. We're gonna do our best. So we're standing our ground. Let's get ready for war. Oh good, the game already has slowed it down for me. So the first thing you're gonna do when we're dealing with something like this being war, is we're gonna go into the manage menu. Well, we're gonna pause for a second while I walk through this, and then we're gonna go into the manage menu up here at the top, and we're gonna hit this draft button. Now there is something I wanna address before we get into this. I did not set a steward. And that is a non-skilled job. So anyone can do it. It has no bearing on any of their actual skill sets. So we're actually gonna bump this up to 1 for everyone except for Sinmund, who is our archer. I don't want him ever doing any stewarding. What a steward does is they open windows, lock doors, things like that. So we're going to, luckily nobody's at the quarry right now. The first thing we're gonna do is we're going to get all of our weapons holders set up here in this bottom floor, and by all I mean both, except for Sinmund, who I want to be on the roof. Oswald and Coinel are going to essentially just hide. They're not going to be able to assist. They don't have armor, they don't have weapons, and frankly I am not willing to lose either of them right now. I'd like to avoid casualties, so we're gonna do it this way. I have already gotten everyone set up to go into their positions. We're gonna press play and make sure that they do what they're told to do. And once everybody, oh, please hurry. Once everybody is inside, come on, Sinmund. We're gonna grab this door and we're gonna set it to locked. And I actually think you don't have to do that specifically, but I like the immersion of it, I guess. Let's see where they're coming in from. So they're coming around the backside here. So I'm gonna take Sinmund and I'm gonna take him over to this area here. And as soon as they are in range, we're gonna start trying to drop some arrows on these guys, and hopefully that'll help. My problem is that these archers are gonna start shooting immediately as well. So maybe we go ahead and deal with them first. Yep, we should deal with them first, Sinmund. Ooh, great shot. Okay, so we're off to a good start here. Missed. Oh man. They're trying to break in down here at the bottom. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Oh, Noda's attacking through the door as well, so that's pretty helpful. When that door breaks, our goal right now, I know the door is going to break. The door has hit points, if we look. So it is almost certainly going to break by the end of this. The goal was to thin out these guys as much as we can before that happens, because I would prefer their numbers to be smaller. So let's see. Oh, good. They're breaking my campfire. Well, we can live without the campfire. I'm not terribly worried about that. I really desperately want to get rid of these archers first. So there's another one. Oh, the door is down. So we're gonna let Cinnamon continue to deal with that archer, and we're gonna see how this is going over here. I'd say it's going pretty well so far, except now they're coming over here to support, which I'm a little concerned about. So let's see. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to see if Cinnamon can actually reach this guy over here. I don't think so, because he's in... Yeah, no. Let's just finish off this archer then. Come on. Let's see. Take the shot. Ah, broken arrow. All right, so that's them dealt with. So now we're gonna go on the offense. Oh, nice. All right, let's see. The beleaguered settlers came under attack in the autumn of 1353. Their ordeal continued for 4 hours and 28 minutes. Mercifully, all settlers survived the raid. 5 sworn enemies died during the fight. Very cool. Then it talks some about their stats, and it talks about what we lost. We lost our campfire, which again, like very, very small casualty. So now we're going to be vengeful, and I want to make sure that they're exterminated. I don't want them coming back, and frankly, I want their equipment. Right now, that's the best value for us. So I'm gonna send Noda and Adalbert out, and I'm gonna have Cinnamon start firing arrows at that guy, Sigmund. And I wanna make sure that he's eliminated. Noda's actually injured. Let's see, bruised leg. Okay, that won't kill him, or kill her. So let's try and get this guy before... No, come on. Before he runs off. All right, I don't think we're gonna make it. Adalbert gave up the chase here, so we'll see if he can catch up. Oh, he's doing good. Missed. Yeah. All right, you guys are gonna be undrafted. I want you to come back to base. I don't think it's going to be worth it anymore to continue to chase these guys. We are gonna have to deal with the question of corpses in a moment. So let's go ahead and come up here to our manage and undraft everybody. I need to get Noda back to base so she can sleep and convalesce. And then I also need to go ahead and we're gonna drop down to this layer and allow them to grab all of this. So there are some bodies. Bodies, we have a couple different options of what we can do with them. We can bury them if we want, which I personally don't believe in wasting resources on it. I can dig a hole in the ground, but you know, there's something truly savage about refusing to bury your enemies. So I think I'm gonna let that ride. The other option is we can just dump them out in the wilderness to rot. Eventually the bodies will decompose, and I think that's gonna be what I do here. So let's let the sim run for a minute and make sure Noda gets back in one piece. I don't think she's bleeding. Yeah, so she just has a bruised leg. She just needs to lie down for a little bit and have somebody heal her. Luckily, we still have some of our starting healing kits, which is good. And this will let everyone eat food and everything. I think, yeah, so they left. This will give them an opportunity to eat, kind of get everything squared away. It actually looks like maybe they're building our wooden beam down here. Did I see that right? No, I don't think so. Yes, they did. Okay, excellent. This means that we'll be able to dig out, we'll do 3 more. And that'll help us expand our storage capabilities. We can build shelves, which we're gonna focus on at some point to try and expand the storage capabilities of the cellar. So the shelves actually allow you to store 3 different items on one tile. So instead of, we'll use the waste pile as an example. In this instance, if I had a shelf here, I could have, you know, ash, a food type or something, in a piece of armor or whatever. I find them extremely useful. It was added in the last major update, the one prior to the caravan update, and they're excellent. They're just such a nice addition. Wow, they got both of our campfires. Let me go ahead and replace that now while I'm thinking about it. Can't believe. And then we also need to probably replace our door. So we'll go ahead and deal with that as well. Let's see. Drop our door in there. And now we have all this equipment. So let's make sure, let's see what your abilities are. You're actually a pretty good marksman. Can I go ahead and put you with range? And then I'll put you as no shield, and then do everything else. And they will eventually pick this stuff up. Sturdy iron dagger. So they have an iron hatchet. Excellent. It's not bad. 2.03 DPS. It's not as good as our short sword, but that's kind of the best item for the starting scenario. So, you know, you take them when you can get them. So I think Noda's gone off to go ahead and sleep to convalesce. So we'll give them an opportunity to recover a bit. Let's use this as an opportunity to fast forward a bit and get through these last couple hours and nighttime, and I'll be right back with you. And as you can see, we are back on another day here. We really need to get this storage situation figured out for food if I want this cabbage to have any hopes of surviving. Luckily, we should be able to start expanding this in the near future. Why are we putting corpses in the storehouse, guys? Whoops, nope, I don't want those. And we don't want carcasses either. So somebody please remove the dead body from the food storage. Man, that's nice. That's a good oversight. Just like walking down to get breakfast one morning and it's like, ugh, you just find a dead body laying there. He'll get that taken care of. Coinel is quite happy. Ooh, we have our brewing station done, which means we can start producing rough wine. We only need red currants, so I am going to set that to run forever because we do have enough to get some started. However, it's not going to be a lot. The berries are relatively plentiful in the area, so we should be able to get some more to start brewing our own. I don't think it's going to remove our independence. Well, it'll remove our independence from purchasing rough wine in the future, but I do... It's going to reduce, right? It's going to... Every rough wine that we can make ourselves is one less that we have to buy, which means we're not trading away our resources anymore to continue getting the items that we need. And we are down to 5 right now. We're gonna run out again for a while and they're gonna get moody again. But we do have some iron here, which, you know, is a pretty bright future. There's lots of limestone piled up. And actually, what I would like to do is, since we have these little paths in between here, let me think about this. Where do we want to put this? What I'm considering doing is I think we should have a limestone. Oh, excellent. Oh, a merchant, just in time. Jeffrey, thank you for making an appearance. I do want to build a location here, just kind of as a place to dump limestone for now. Limestone doesn't really rot or anything, so I have found that just kind of building an outside stockpile is not the worst idea for it. So let's run this across here. Let's make sure our math is right. I think that's correct. I would like to just kind of drop it. Let's do that. That's tons and tons of space for the stockpile. And I think that's going to be advantageous, but we do need to turn off everything. So let's hit clear all. We're going to come up here to material, raw material, and I want limestone and clay stored here because neither of those are going to rot in the outdoors. And that should give them an opportunity to store some of these. It doesn't count up here. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but the items will not count in the top right-hand corner here unless they are in a stockpile. So that's an important tidbit to know, which is why it's so important that we get it into the stockpile. Hopefully the trader sticks around a little bit after they wake up. We'll find out here in a minute. Somebody's going to be very upset when I immediately tell them to go talk to this guy when they wake up. Which actually, this brings up a good opportunity. I would like to look at our speechcraft. And I don't know if there's a quick way of looking at it outside of just buzzing through here. Let me pause for a minute. So we have speechcraft 8, speechcraft 7, speechcraft 9, speechcraft 5, and 7. So Sinmund is going to be our guy. So let's tell Sinmund to go barter as soon as he's awake. And let's see what we can do. Oh, darn, they won't purchase corpses. I didn't even think about that, but that'd be pretty funny. I guess it would go against their weight because they only have so much storage. That, and there's probably, I guess not in this game, a lot of value to a corpse. Clearly, right? Because we have 3 in our possession and they don't want any of them. So let's see, how much rough wine? You only have 4, huh? That kind of stinks, but you know, it is what it is. So I want 4 rough wine. Let's take a gander here at our resources. They don't want to buy ash. What can I give them? They don't want sticks either, which is problematic because that is one of our primary things to sell. We do have leftover wool, so actually let's trade these to free up space, and then we have about 4. What do you have? Do you have anything I could buy that's going to be cheap? No. All you have is herbs and packaged meals. Well, that's fine. We'll go ahead and just trade them these guys, and we'll get more. We'll be able to make more linen down the line. So yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, we just acquired them for free, right? Like, we got them off of enemy corpses, so I don't think we should be too concerned about holding on to them. Watch me regret that though as soon as winter rolls around. So Koino has a concussion, and that actually reminds me we need to do our convalesce priority here. And then you are a pretty high marksman, and of course you got our other longbow, which is very exciting. Pretty good at construction. We can bump that up. I don't know that we need another botany person, but I think it's probably not a terrible idea either. Decent at mining, not nearly as good as that, Albert, but we'll bump that up to a 2. Bump you up to a 2. And yeah, we'll just leave hauling at normal. I think that's probably fine. Cool, and let's copy and paste our schedule in as well. That way they line up with the rest of the gang. So our limestone count is going up. I know I said we were going to focus a lot on the quarry this episode, and I'm doing my best to make sure that we actually do that. So let's run this out a little bit, drag it out to a 5x5, and keep uncovering this iron, because I'm really intrigued by the fact that there's so much iron down here. I think ultimately the goal should be to probably bring it up to this line here, and then we'll drop a staircase down into it so we're not mining from the top anymore. It's not really a current issue, but I think that if we want to get to this iron, we're going to have a way to lower them down into the pit itself. So we will inherently have to build stairs to do that. We do have some research available. We just hit the decorative blocks section again. Watch, we're going to get this wooden weaponry, and we really are gonna have resources with the iron and everything. Well, it does unlock the Boyer's table. So that is gonna be for archery. That's probably worth it by itself, I think anyway. So we'll let it go the way that it's going for now. I wish they would cut these shrubs. I don't think anybody has like a top priority job to cut plants. So everyone has something a little more important to be doing. I do want to check on how our mining has gone down here. I would say quite well. So we're just going to let Albert grab this. Excellent. Okay, there's some more coal down here. So first thing we need to do actually before I fully expand this is drop wooden floor down. And then once they've done that, or I guess I can go ahead and do it now just to get us moving some of this stuff. I need to come over here and hit expand and just add this onto the stockpile. And I say that, but I'm actually going to go ahead and throw some shelves down as well. Of course, I hit autosave immediately. Let's tuck these over here in the corner for now. Eventually, I'd like to kind of line the walkways with them. That way we can just try and increase our storage as much as humanly possible. But for now, that's going to have to do it. And eventually, I'd like to do an add-on to this and add our library to it. But, you know, we're just trying to move along here. I need to actually go ahead. I know I rebuilt these. I was thinking about this a minute ago and forgot to do it. We need to go ahead and roll the forever food production on it so we can get back to turning cabbage into stew. And we'll go from there. We have lots and lots and lots of coal, which is good because that is a fuel source for our campfires. If you see here, it says it requires 12 cooking material and 1 fuel. And the coal will count as fuel for that. See, you can see on the purple tag right there. So let's, the wolves are back over here. Hopefully they're not messing with us too much. Wow, that's gonna be a lot of iron under here. Very exciting. Not as useful as, well, more useful, but not for our purposes than limestone. Need to go ahead and put a door. I told you guys I would forget to do the door, and then I'd see it and I'd be like, oh, we need to do a door. So here we are. I do need to also expand out the pathway to line up here and add our extra little hovel. I actually think it'd be kind of cool to do our crops here in the future. Maybe we'll do that for the next season. We'll move our farm, because it's gonna die in the winter anyway. We'll move our farm to be in between the houses like this. If we're gonna do that, I do need to go ahead and build our paths. But I actually think this would work quite well. We just kind of drag it across here, like so. And that'll connect them up, and then I can run these paths back. There's an iron dagger over here. I'm not really sure who threw this on the ground over here. Let's look. Yeah, I'm not really sure on that one. They just kind of decided to toss a dagger on the ground, so that's interesting. So we've got the quarry going. We've got our little bridge built across. They are hammering out these limestone paths, which I'm very excited about, starting to get some of this connectivity built. I'm thinking we ought to probably do the same on this side. It only requires 2 limestone to do this, by the way, so it's incredibly cheap to start building out all of our paths. Like I said, I do want to connect this up, but I'm hesitant to do that immediately, and what I might actually do is try to keep it high and tight over here against this building and then run across so we can use this coal to kind of dig it out a little bit. I do think we are going to need more coal in the future. I don't think it's a pressing need right now, considering we have 360 coal. And honestly, a lot of that came from digging out this basement. So we are out of wood, and we didn't get the cartography table done. So let's go ahead and try and move forward with that. I am going to cut down some of our pretty trees here. Let's see, your growth mature, so chop, chop, chop. You're growing, so we'll spare you, as are you. You're mature though, so sorry about it. And you're mature. So let's try and pull some of these trees. Oh, happy birthday, Albert. He's turned 37 today. So let's go ahead and get those trimmed back. I do want to leave this tree here since it adds some, I guess, some visual pleasure to our town here. Gives us a little spice, little flavor. So we'll leave that. There's forbidden sticks. Let's mark that not forbidden. There's no real reason for it to be forbidden when it's that close to town. Man, this iron really does extend all over. I'm pretty excited to see how much iron we do have in this area. But again, only way to do that's gonna be to keep digging away. So let's see. Last thing on the agenda today is gonna be getting this cartography table done, I think, because I think we've made great progress. So let's try and bully them into doing that. What are you annoyed about? Slept in a nice bed. Slept outside. Why'd you sleep outside? How did you sleep in a nice bed and sleep outside? Either way, it's an interesting conundrum, Albert. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Happy birthday, you had to sleep outside, I guess. I like watching them go, especially in fast forward mode. They're just really tinking away at the limestone here, which is good because we need it. Whoa, everyone's showing up to help now. Of course, they're mangling the resources, which is really unfortunate because we actually need this for not just clearing space for the sake of clearing space. But, you know, what do you do? Though the mangled resources thing is a byproduct of them not having a high enough skill. But unfortunately, the only way for them to get better at this is to keep practicing and doing it. So we are just gonna have to let them do that. Pretty excited to get to this iron. Let's take a look here. How we doing? Is it anyone cutting trees? No? Whose job is it to cut plants? Nobody has a +1 for cutting plants. So I'm going to bump these up because, I mean, they're already doing botany anyway. So they may as well start cutting trees as part of their plant reaping mishandled. Nice. They're already doing botany, so it makes sense for them, you know, to use that skill set and try and get us as far along as we can. Actually, I just realized that Albert slept in a nice bed and outside because this was not a room. So there's the explanation for that one. And then that should start getting us wood. And hopefully they will start building this cartography table as soon as they can. It would be nice to get that unlocked. And then we can take a peek at it. Of course, this is getting rained on, so now the production speed has gone down. Oh, what was that? Oh, they finished the food. Okay, I thought it flamed out or something. So once we get this wood, we'll finish the cartography table. I am gonna go ahead and let them work on this for a minute because there's no guarantee that they're gonna work on this immediately. And I don't want you to have to sit here and listen to me ramble as they decide what they wanna do. So I'm gonna let this buzz through and I'll see you on the other side of it. And as promised, the cartography table is finally done. Look at it, it's beautiful. So let's take a look at this menu real quick before we call it a day. Wow, they have really expanded this. There's a lot more settlements. So the cartography table does a couple of things. The first thing it's going to do, I'm gonna slow this down a little bit so nothing crazy happens while we're not paying attention. The first thing it does is it allows us to see other settlers, or I guess settlements nearby. We are able to trade with these guys, and I believe that the developers have said that they're going to plan a raiding kind of mechanic where our settlement will be able to raid other settlements, which is pretty cool. So anyway, here's us. Here's all of our neighbors. Of course, all of our neighbors are forest bandits, which is fun. We have these guys over here, which are Oak Brethren, the Circle of Avalon. So these seem to be probably part of the same settlement if I had to guess. It'd be really cool if one day they add the ability to drop more settlements all under the same banner and kind of create like a macro game. That'd be really fun. Anyway, the big thing is that it'll allow us to trade. You can see down here, they're permanently hostile. So let's click on another one. It's 11 tiles away and we can send a caravan to trade. We're not gonna do that right now because I don't think we have enough resources to really be valuable. But once we start getting our iron going, I think we'll be able to make some money on that, which is exciting. Hopefully we'll be able to take care of our brewing issue soon, but if we can't, it gives us an opportunity to start collecting some of that. So just to review everything we got done today, we got our paths in, we got our cartography table done, we built our brewing station, we survived our first raid, and as promised, we started our quarry, which right now is kind of just looking like a hole in the ground, which really, you know, a quarry is just kind of a fancy hole in the ground. But for now, we just have a plain hole in the ground. We'll work on improving that as we dig up the limestone around it, and we'll continue on our path towards building our castle, as well as some other cool stuff I have planned along the way. So I think I'm gonna call it here. Thank you again so much for watching. My name is Games Over Explained. If you liked what you saw today, please leave a like and a comment. If you want to see more awesome content like this, feel free to drop a subscribe. I do release at least one video a week. I'm trying to work on it right now, trying to lock down a schedule so that I can say, hey, I'm going to have new videos this day every week. We are shooting for Thursday currently, and I have some other cool stuff that is being planned right now, but we'll more to come on that. So again, leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe. All of it helps me tremendously, and I really appreciate it. I love making videos for you guys, and it'd be awesome to see some of that support. So again, this was Games Over Explained, playing Going Medieval, and we'll see you next week.